Yes, hello. Hello everyone. I hope I'm audible, right? Just give me a second. Yes, I hope audible and visible as well, right? Can anyone give me the confirmation? Hello, Samaji. Okay, in the meanwhile, let me share my screen. Right? Okay. So can anyone give me the confirmation? Are all the things clear? Am I visible? Am I audible? And is my screen shot to share properly? Right? Hello, sir. What are you doing? Preparing quiz for? Yes. So sorry for the delay. There was some technical glitch. That's why we are late for 5 minutes. But don't worry, we'll cover it up. Right? Yes, Samajit, I was here only. I was there was some technical issue. Yeah. So sorry for that. But no issues. We will cover it up in the later part of the session. Right? Don't worry. Okay. All good. All good, guys. All good, right? Okay. So before starting, any any doubts from the previous 2 days? If you have any doubts, you can let me know. In the meanwhile, let me just open the Excel drawer. Right. Yesterday we did about functions. Right. Yesterday we did functions. We did parameters, arguments. Right. How do we declare functions? We did loops, post increment, pre increment, and all the things like that. Right. I hope you must have revised yesterday's session. Right. Please make, if you have not, please make sure that you're revising revising the topics that are being taught daily. Right. Video quality is poor. Rajnish, please try to change the settings from your end. Change the streaming settings to 1080 pixels or 720 pixels. Uh, from mine, it's up to the mark, right? Please check your internet connection. All right. Sir, how can we take array as an argument? Yeah, we can take array as an argument as well, right? So I'll show you. It's similar to take. It's similar to as we like take any variable, right? You can store that variable in. You can store array in a variable, and you can just transfer that. It's up to you. How do you want to do that, right? Good evening, Sheikh. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. राजेश सेट नेट क्वालिटी ऑन 4K. अरे उसका इंटरनेट खत्म करा रहे हो यार आप. 4K is not like 4K. I think 720 is sufficient enough to watch it on high definition. So anything above 720, it's fine. 720, 1080, even 1440, even 4K is fine, right? Acha. So any doubts from the previous 2 days? Anyone? Any doubts from the previous 2 days? You can let us know. Otherwise, we'll proceed further. Right? Sir, there are no jobs in the market for front-end developers. What are your thoughts on this? Abhishek. See, Abhishek, to be honest, you are correct. Right? The market nowadays is so much terrible for especially engineers that there is a huge lot of scarcity, right? But it's not only you, right, Abhishek? I mean, all the developers. In fact, forget about freshers, right? Even the experienced developers, experienced software engineers are also kind of struggling with that also. So what we can do as an individual, right? We cannot change the job scenario, right? Can you? You cannot, right? That's not on in your hands, right? The best we can do is we can just prepare, right? Prepare, and prepare. Because uh, you should not miss out any opportunity that's coming. I totally agree that, let's suppose on in the previous, let's suppose for batch 2022, right? There were multiple openings before COVID or in the COVID times. But what happened was, due to excessive hiring and excessive openings, what, it eventually led to a disaster, right? uh, Companies have started laying off people because there's already an over vacancies. They're already overbooked. Plus, you know uh, there is also a very, I would say, a scarcity of funds, right? uh, but do not feel bad for it. Not not even me, right? In fact, all the developers are struggling. They are doing their very best. But what's in your hand that you can prepare, right? Do not lose motivation. I know it's very easy to say, do not lose motivation, but just believe in yourself, right? And make sure to just practice and practice. You just have to wait for that one opportunity, and if that comes, you should not waste that, right? And how will you make sure that you're not how will you make sure that you're not wasting that? By practicing. That's it, right? There are jobs, I mean, in recession times the jobs are there, but they are pretty much less, right? So you have to crack any interview that you are getting, as simple as that, right? As simple as that. Just don't feel bad, don't feel disheartened, just right, have keep your motivation high. And I'm telling you, right, it's not only you, all the people, all the developers, even experienced developers from big tech giants are also suffering with that. You must have seen that, people are getting laid off from big companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, right? So just think of them. They have a family to feed, right? You're I am pretty much sure that none of you right here is married and you don't have a family. But think of developers who are, who have a family to feed, who have the kids going to school, right? How will they cope up? So times are hard. I'm not denying that, but what the best you can do is just keep on practicing, right? You have to just wait for that single opportunity that comes. Okay. And whatever, see, Lemtech, I'm not demotivating, right? I'm just trying to not give you any false hope, right? The job scenario is a down a bit, but I'm also telling that if you just keep up your technical skills up to the mark, you just need one opportunity, right? You just need one opportunity. And all the recession and all these things are just temporary, right? A time will come when the say the hirings will start, and yeah, exactly said by Samarjit, mauke pe chauka marna hai, right? We have to just wait for the right opportunity, and whenever it comes, right, we cannot let it go. And how will we make sure that we cannot let it go? By just practicing, right? It's all about practice. It's all about having the right skill set. And companies are hiring, right, but they're just looking for the right talent, right? So with that being said, do not lose any motivation. If people can do it, you can also do it, right? And they're telling you again, it's just temporary. Maybe at the end of the by the end of this year, recession will go, and then the hiring will start coming up, right? So whenever they start, you have to be up to the mark. You have to be, just be at par with your technical skills, that you're not wasting any interview opportunities, right? So just keep on. I would just conclude it. Just keep on practicing and believe in yourself. Right, you will do it. Right, just believe in yourself. You will do it. And I pretty much know that you all guys are very enthusiastic. Right, you are very energetic. You are very motivated. And I also try, just provide the best of my knowledge to you, so that you also don't face any difficulties. Plus, it's your practice also, right? They want if you have experience of more than 5 years. Yes, Utpal, I can pretty much understand that. Pretty much understand that. But again, I told you, right, that's all temporary. That is all temporary. It's not permanent. Recession and the bad times that are there, they're all permanent, right? So again, just keep focusing, keep on preparing, just just keep on doing projects, just keep on practicing data structures. I assure you that you will get placed, right? Eventually you have to get placed, right? But yeah, again, do not lose any practice with that. So with that being said, enough talk for the day, right? Let's get started with today's topic, right? So I have also faced, yes, in fact, personally talking about me, I've also faced that recession time, right? It's still going, right? However, I still have a job, but you never know when anyone can get laid off, right? Because the scenarios are such that we also have to look for backup options, right? So even even anyone who is a manager at Google, or who is at a very good place, very good position, his job can also be in danger. Who knows that he'll get laid off? But again, why to think that negative? Let's be optimistic, and let's start, and let's get going. Okay, chalo. Sorry for demotivating you, if I was, but I mean, that's the truth, right? That's the truth. We cannot run away from that. But again, I'm also telling you that it will happen till this year, or till this year itself. Starting from the next year, everything will be normal, and then you'll have to get going, right? Yes. Abhishek, it's do not say sorry. It's up to, like, it's totally fine, right? It's uh, we guys have to, be aware of the reality as well. Chalo, ठीक है. Chalo, with that being said, let's start. Right, today we will be doing arrays. Right? So anyone. So if you're coming from Java C++ background, knowing homogeneous, right? Arrays, talking about, I would say, and Java, in fact, Python. I'm not sure about Python. We know that arrays are heterogeneous, right? Sorry, homogeneous. Yeah. What I do mean by homogeneous is that they. Is my voice lagging? Just give me a second. Just give me. Is it okay now? Is it okay now? Is it okay now? I think now it should be fine, right? Videos also, now it's fine, right? Now it's fine. Let me see the broadcast. Okay, I think now it should be fine enough, right? Uh, just give me a second. Let me just see the mic as well. Headset microphone. Right. Is my voice also fine now? Fine now. I think it should be fine. Yeah, it should be fine now, right? Great. ठीक है. ठीक है, चलो. So sorry for that, right? So we know that arrays are homogeneous, right? You're all coming from C++ background, Java background. So what do you mean by homogeneous? That they store similar type of data, right? Similar type of data, right? They just store a similar type of data. So, but what happens in JavaScript, right? I told you, right? JavaScript is such a beautiful language. JavaScript uh, arrays are heterogeneous. Heterogeneous. Okay. In that, arrays are heterogeneous. So, what do I mean by heterogeneous? For that, let's just quickly come to the code part. Let me just open the folder, JavaScript Bootcamp. Yes. Okay. So what do I mean by heterogeneous? So let's suppose I have. By the way, how do we declare arrays? It's very similar. Let's suppose similar to how we declare what do you say, any variable, like where you just give the name. Let's suppose I want to give it as ARR, and here you type in 2 square brackets, right? After that, just type in anything. Let's suppose I'm typing 1 2 3 4, right, 5 6 7 and 8, right? As simple as that. And now if I just like if I would just print it here, console.log ARR, right? And let me just show you, let me just run node and the name of the file, that is index here, and I just get an output here as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, right? As simple as that. But I told you it can, so this here is a homogeneous mixture, again a homogeneous mixture, as it contains a similar data type. But let's suppose I want to store my name. We can, right? Let's suppose I want to store a boolean value. Let's suppose I want to store true. It can be possible, right? Let's suppose I want to store false, right? So will this work in if you do the same thing in C++ or Java, right? The compiler will laugh at you. It will say that, hey, you cannot just write multiple types of data in a single array. You cannot.
either it has to be a string, either it has to be boolean, either it has to be in an integer. But in case of JavaScript, right, you have the flexibility of adding heterogeneous mixture in your arrays. So again, let me just console it. Let me just show it to you, console.log. And here you have it. So I have an array 1 2 3 4, and I have my name, and I have an object. I have what do you say, a boolean value as well, right? In fact, we can also store objects. So okay, acha, I haven't covered objects yet, right? So what are objects? Objects are, I think, only they're only there in Python and JavaScript. I'm not sure about Python, but in JavaScript there are objects. In C++ there are no objects. Also in Java we also don't have any objects, right? So this is also very new concept. Objects are also similar to arrays. Uh, they in fact just store key and value pairs, right? They just store key and a value pair. So let's come here. And how do we declare objects? Similarly to an array. So we just type in the variable, right? Then we give the name of the object. Let's suppose I want to give it at obj, right? And in this case, what is the only difference between the array and the object is as if I talk about in terms of syntax, it's just that in array you have a solid square bracket, right? Whereas if you want to declare, let's suppose, an object, you have to have it inside a curly bracket. Plus, again, I told you, right, it will be a key and value pair. So you have to have a key and you have to have a value. So let's suppose I want to have a key as name and a value as Ritik, right? Let's suppose I want to have a key as age, and uh, let's suppose value as 23, right? And let's suppose I want to have another thing. Let's suppose my gender, right? Let's suppose I want to have as gender, and let's suppose I want to do it as male here. So this is what an object is here, right? And I'll just show you. I'll just console.log an object. So let's see what do we get. So I have it and I get an object in this format, right? Yes, if I talk about Python, it is similar to a dictionary. Exactly. Samarji, just please hold on. I have read that out. I'll just come to that. Please don't worry about it, right? So this is how we declare an object, right? So we have this is the key, and this right here is the value, right? Key and a value pair. The very interesting fact here is you can even store objects in you can even store array sorry you can even store objects inside arrays. Let's suppose I want to store this variable obj, right? I can even do that. I can even do that thing as well, right? So and now come here, and if I just uh, console.log my variable, that is my array, so I'll have this something. So if I do console.log arr, I'll just comment out this part, right? And here I go, index, and as you can see, right, now it is an array because ultimately what I have declared is I have declared an array, as simple as that. But the fun part here is, yes, yes, it is. I was just coming to that only, right? So the fun part here is it is still an array, right? It is still an array, right? So inside an array I have an object because I told you arrays are heterogeneous in nature. In JavaScript I have a string, right? I even have a boolean value, and with that I even have a integer, that's a number value right here, right? As simple as that. But a very interesting fact, in JavaScript everything is an object, right? So if I talk about, I'll just write it here, right? In JS, arrays are also considered as objects, right? So why objects? Because I told you, right, objects are a set of key and a value pair. So in arrays also you have a key, right? This is a key, and so you also have a key and a value pair, right? What is the key? The key is the index. And what is the value? The value is the element that is present in that particular index, right? So that is how we can do it, right? Samarjit was saying, can we pass sir arrays and yes, Samarjit, exactly. You can pass arrays and argument. There is another option of destructuring that is a bit of an advanced concept. I do not want to just confuse you guys, but for now, yeah, you can do it by passing as it as an argument as well, right? And also, if you want to just if you get time and if you're really interested, just go through what destructuring in JavaScript is, right? It's a very beautiful concept. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to cover it because due to constraint of times, but I'll see if we can do it in the next bootcamp, right? So yes, so this was all about, what do you say, arrays and objects, right? So I hope I hope the concept is clear. What are arrays, what are objects, and how do we declare arrays, how do we declare objects? Any doubts still here? Anyone? Can anyone let me know? Can anyone let me know? Any doubts still here? Is it clear? Hosting, if time allows, we'll do it, for sure. Right? I had it planned, but yeah, we'll see. Right? Okay. Okay. After that we chalo, okay. Let me just comment out this part. Right? All clear. Everyone says all clear. Okay. Now, acha. So far we have done like the programming concepts of JavaScript, right? But have you ever wondered, right? Have you ever wondered how do we add JavaScript in HTML? Right? So because I told you, right, JavaScript ultimately helps you to make your website dynamic, interactive, responsive, and things like that, right? But in order to make your website responsive, you need to have a way to link your JavaScript to your HTML files, right? So I'll take a very quick example. So let's suppose I have a file called as index.html, right? Index.html. And let's suppose I just just make the normal boilerplate doc file, right? And after that, let's suppose I am just making some random things. Let's suppose I want to have a h1 tag, and that says, hey, welcome to day 3 of JS bootcamp, right? Using strict tag if internal JS, and yes, Samajit, you are absolutely right. Okay. So I hope everyone knows how do we add CSS, right? In order to add CSS, we have a link tag just like this, and we just type the name. So let me just make another CSS file as well. Let it be style.css, right? And let me just link the style.css as well. It's already linked here, right? So similarly, just like you add CSS in your HTML part, right? In your HTML code, you also have a way of adding or of including your JavaScript code in the HTML file. And how do we do that? We do it with the help of a script tag. So this is the syntax. This is the tag that you use for adding JavaScript into your HTML code. And here you type the source. What is the source here? The source here is the file name. So in my case, the source is index.js. Right. And now let me just go live. Let me just click on this live, and let's just see what it has to offer us, right? It's starting. Achha. For those of you who do not know how to go live, there is an extension called as live server. You just have to install that, and you'll just see an option to go live here, right? So you can do that as well. Okay. So as you can see, we have just successfully. Achha. How will we get to know that whether we have successfully linked it or not? Achha. Let's suppose we have a thing called as alert, right? Alert. Let's say, hey, it's I'll just say it has been successfully linked. Okay. Yeah, it has been successful. And what will it do? You must have seen that whenever, let's suppose, you have a warning sign, or let's suppose you want to allow some information, right? So you see an alert, a kind of a dialog box on your browser, right? This is exactly what it'll do. So let's suppose once I open this, I open my browser, right? Let me just comment here. Yeah. So as soon as I do it, as soon as I just type in alert here, I'll see it has been successfully linked, right? But how did my browser get to know, right? I did some changes in my JavaScript file. How did my index.html file get to know that? Because I have linked my JavaScript file in what? In my JS part, right? I've linked my JavaScript file in my HTML code. That is the only reason why we're able to track the changes that we are doing in HTML into our JavaScript file. Acha, a very good question by Samarjit. He says that can we add the JavaScript, the script tag in the head section, right? Yes, we can, but for that you have to use another attribute, and that is called defer, the defer keyword, right? We have script src. Here you type the name of the file, but remember, if you are using it in the the header tag, you have to use a keyword, and that keyword you have to use an attribute, and that attribute here is called as defer, right? So if you do that, it'll work. But no, if you just skip this part, things will go wrong. They'll not work as intended, right? So it's the same, right? Again, if I just refresh, I'll just it's again working. So yes, I say it has been successfully linked, right? Acha. So with that part, we come to the most interesting part of JavaScript, right? And that is called as DOM, right? That is called as DOM. So it just simply stands for document object model, right? What does it do? It stands for document object model, right? What do we mean by document object model? Chalo, I'll tell you a very simple scenario, right? Let's suppose you have your HTML file right here, right? And you have your browser right here, right? So this is your browser, right? And this right here is your HTML code that consists of JavaScript as well, right? So, and let's suppose you have made a button, right? You have made a button. This button you have made here, and you have also made another. Let's suppose it could be, let's suppose, an input, right? An input tag. Here you'll write something, right? So okay, just imagine this scenario. Let's suppose I'm just let's suppose I just want to click. Acha, let's suppose that's a button, right? I told you that's a button. Okay, now I'll tell you a very simple use case. Okay, let's suppose I'm on a I'm on a I'm on a I'm on my browser, right? Let's suppose I'm on this website called as LetsUpgrade. Let's take that this example as only, right? And here I let's suppose I click on a button, right? As soon as I click on my button, right? Just tell me one thing. How will my what do you say? My browser know that which button have I clicked and which HTML index, which HTML tag was that I have clicked? Because let's suppose I have 10 buttons, right? Let's suppose I click on the third button, and I want that once a user clicks on that third button, I just have to change the background color of my page to yellow. Let's suppose a very basic example, right? But in order to change the background color to yellow, right, I need to somehow get the reference. I need to somehow access my buttons so that I can change the background color, right? That so that exactly where DOM steps in. DOM will give you the access, right, of your HTML document and of HTML element. So whenever you click on the HTML element, it will just directly give the hints to your browser, and your browser will perform the necessary operations. So let's suppose I I have a main div, right? Let's suppose I have a main div, and this right here, let's suppose I have a div, right? Let's suppose this is a div. Okay, and in that div I have two child divs, right? let's suppose this is child 1, let's suppose this is child 2, right? And let's suppose this div also has one child, let's suppose child 3, right? Let's assume it to be a button. I'm just typing, just writing the short form for now, right? And assume it to be also a button, and assume it to be an input tag for form, right? Input for form, right? So how will my browser access? So it will see, okay, so this is the HTML code, right? This is the root of the HTML code. This is what we call as a root, because this is the topmost, this is the parent of all the tags, right? Now let's suppose I have the first div, I have the second div, and I have a button, right? Button 1, button 2, and button 3. Let's suppose I click on button 2, and let's suppose that button 2 is somewhere here, right? And on clicking that button 2, I want the color to change to, let's suppose, to red, right? So again, I'm just emphasizing it all over again. How will my browser know that which button have I clicked? Because I've written the code in the HTML, fine, but how will my browser know that? It will know with the help of this tree structure. It will just see, okay, so I have a button, right? Where is that button located? Okay, I'll just see the root. It has div 1, it has div 2, right? It'll go to div 1. It'll just say div 1. Let's suppose div 1 has two buttons, button 1 and button 2, and my div 2 has only a single button, that is button 3. It'll come to button 2, it'll come to button 2, and it will just get the reference. Okay, so it'll just see, okay, so I have a div, I have a button, that I have a button that is inside a div, and that is inside my HTML file. So this is how your HTML, right? Your, sorry, not your HTML, your browser will be able to recognize, okay, so here is the exact location of that button or that div, whatever it could be anything, and I have to just access that thing, right? Utpal, no, not as cookies. Cookies are different. Cookies are storage devices, are storage mechanisms. They are totally different, right? So that's how it will do it. And let's suppose, acha, there's a thing called as event listeners, right? Event listeners, right? So what are event listeners? Let's suppose again, I have a browser, right? Oh, right. I have a browser right here, right? I have a browser, right? And let's suppose I am clicking here. This is a button. This is a button right here, and this is also a button right here, right? And look, again, a similar example. As soon as I click on this button, I just want that my background color should change to green or blue or anything, your favorite color, right? So a thing comes up here is, how will I get to know that which button I have clicked, right? Okay, you might be thinking, right, with the help of DOM tree. This is the DOM tree that I've mentioned. With the DOM tree, you will get the access of that button. But just tell me one thing, is getting the access enough, right? Let's suppose I want to click on that button, and if I click on that button, I want to have a certain task. How will my browser know, okay, that I have performed a click, and on performing a click, now I have to perform some operations, right? So for that, we have a thing called as event listeners. Again, as the name suggests, they will listen to any events that your browser does, that you as a user do. In an event could be anything. It could be a click of a button, it could be writing some input values, it could be anything, right? So you have got multiple event listeners. For click, you have got an event listener called as on click. For submitting the form, you have got an listener called as on submit, right? For, let's suppose you want to just uh, have an event on a key press, so there's an event listener that will make sure that whenever you press a key, that event listener will going to be triggered. That is called on key up. You have on key, you also have what you say, on key up, right? You also have on key up. You've also got on key down, right? There are multiple, right? Yes, there are also a thing called as mouse hovering. Yes, Samajit, I'm just coming the coding part, right? Let me just clear the theory part as well, right? So again, there are ample number of event listeners. It's your homework that you just go to W3 schools, go to MDN docs, go to anything, just just figure out, just try to explore what are the event listeners that are there, and just type and just practice them, right? I'll also code it along, but I'll also suggest you to please explore the event listener that will not be covered in the class. Chalo. With that being said, let's come to a quick and a small task. Okay. You all have forms, right? You all have forms. You have a form, you enter the detail and you just validate it. So let's suppose I'm on an Amazon. Let's suppose I have access to someone Netflix account, right? And I want to just access the password. I want to just access. I want to just I'm just so there's a login page. I'm just typing in my username. I'm just typing in the password, and somehow I want to get access of the username and the password, right? And I have to check that whether the username and the password entered by the user is correct or not. For that, we will use event listeners, because we have to get the input and things like that. So for that, we'll just quickly do a small example by coding. Let's suppose I have an heading called as form validation, right? I'll quickly make a form, and I do not want actions for now. I'll just give it an ID, and that ID, let's suppose, is form, right? And let's suppose I'll have a label, let's suppose username, and username will have an input, right? And input will be type, okay? Uh, and I want to give it an ID. Let's suppose ID should be username. And again, I'll have the similar process for the password as well. I'll tell you some mass programmer after the end of the session. You'll get it. Don't worry. I'll tell you. Just don't worry. Okay. So here you have a thing called as password. Here you have an ID called as password here. Okay. And this type will be password. Right. And you also have a button that will be of type submit, and whose ID will be submit, and whose value will be, let's suppose, submit. Okay. Hello. So I have got a label. So let me just run it. I think it's already running. Let me just come here. Let me just see. Okay, I've got this part, right? And let me just come here. Let me just remove the alert part. Okay, or let me just comment it out. Okay. Chalo. So the first thing that comes up here is I want to get the access of the things that the user is typing. Because if I will not have the access of the things, then how will I validate it, right? I have to validate the username and password, and if the username and the password is correct, then only I'll be able to proceed further. Let's suppose, again, I told you, right, the example of Netflix. So for that, I'll just come here. I'll just add an event listener. So again, I told you, right, a form has an ID, right? So I'll quickly come here. I'll just do var form equals to acha. How do we get the reference of the ID? For that, you have a thing called as document dot event listeners, right? Document dot event listeners. Event listeners will help you to listen to an event. So let's suppose document dot get element by ID. And what is the name of the ID? What is the form ID? It's form, right? So I'll just quickly write in form here. Okay. Acha. Now I told you, right? I told you about the event listener called as on submit. So whenever you submit the form, that event listener will be triggered. So similarly, I have that event listener right here. So let's suppose I have a form dot. Acha. For adding an event listener, you have a keyword called as add event listener. Here you type which listener you want to listen to. Let's suppose I want to listen to submit. And once I submit, I want to run a function. Let's suppose that function is fn. Yeah. So again, I've made a function fn. Now I'll just quickly. Okay, yeah, I missed that. Yeah. Thanks, Venkatesh. Okay. Chalo. Right. Now this form, right? This form that I have here is it will now have a function. So I have made a function. That means on submit, whenever I submit my form, this function will be triggered. And how will that function be triggered? By the help of this line, right? Again, so I have to make a function now. Let's suppose, I hope everyone knows how to make a function, right? Function fn, right? Again, so I'll just do a quick thing here. Like I'll just write e dot prevent default. I'll tell you what does it mean if you don't know. Just e dot prevent default, right? Acha. Now I have an ID for username, right? I have an ID for password. right? So let's quickly come here. I'll just do var username equals to, yeah. So what's the username? It's with an ID of username, right? So again, document dot get element by ID username, right? So what var username equals to document dot get element by ID, and what's the ID? It's username, right? And whatever value that username provides in that input box, I'll just store it in in another variable, and that, let's suppose it will be called username value, and that will be, acha, how do we access the value? You have again you have a keyword called as username dot value, right? If you do this, you will get the reference of that value that will be there. Yeah, I think I'll upload the code on GitHub. Don't worry about it, right? So don't worry about it. So this you have is and let me just try to console.log username value. Is I'll give you the source code, don't worry. Okay? But just focus here for now, right? Yeah. So acha, let me just test it out. Let's suppose let me just open the inspect code, inspect, right? Let me just inspect the page, and let me just type in name, let's suppose Ritik, right? And any random password, and as soon as I click on submit, it says acha, undefined. Okay, I think there's some mistake here. Dot add event listener submit cannot read properties of undefined. Okay, it's giving undefined for some reason. Let me just see where form equals to document dot get element by ID. What's the ID here is? What if we get multiple forms? Yep, I'll tell that. Don't worry, I'll tell that. Okay, chalo. We have form ID label. We have input username. We have label for password. We have input type password and ID is password, and we have input type submit, right? And then we have where form equals to document dot get element by ID. And form dot add element listener, we are on submit, we have to add a function, and that function is e dot prevent e dot prevent default. And can we use document dot yeah, we can do that, but again it will not make your code clean, so that's why I'm focusing on the clean code, that so that you can get it, you guys do not get confused, and that's why I've done that, right? So don't worry about it. Just give me a second, let me just see what's wrong. Let me just do one thing. Let me just try to make it here. Username U capital. That should not be a silly mistake. Oh, it is. Thank you guys. Thank you for clearing it out. Yeah. So let's see. Now let's just test it out. Let me just type in my name. Let me type in a random password. And again, we have cannot read properties. Let me just do one thing. Let me just username, not username. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Now it's username only. Again, semicolon is optional because I told you JavaScript is, will just take care of the semicolons itself. It will not worry about it. I think I'm making cannot read properties of undefined. Acha. Let me just see. Form ID is form. Should we declare an assigned form before adding action, listeners? Should we declare an assigned form before acting? No, not necessarily, because if p dot pr, I think, is there any spelling mistake? Prevent. No, there is not. So let's see. So you are saying that you have to declare. Let's suppose, let's try it out, but I don't think so it'll be a huge issue. Yep. So okay, I've already declared, right? Acha, I think I declared it 2 times. That was my bad. So let me just type something. Let me just type something. Again, it's it's getting. You are missing HTML ID form, but you put for. Simple. You are missing HTML ID. You wrote instead of form. Uh, wait. It's correct, right? Its ID is form, right? It can be done. You wrote for instead of form in ID HTML. I didn't get you, Samarjit. Can you please come again? Mohit, it can be uh, no, it's also fine. It's also fine. Actually, the thing here is it's not reading the values, right? I know your better side. If I do that, this is form, unless I'm just copying it here, and this is form here for you. We have deferred keyword, right? Yeah, we do. Acha, let me just do it all over again. Let me just have another form. Line 58 should move up. No, not necessarily. It's fine. Acha, let's have var form equals to document dot get element by ID, and I have a form here. Acha, before that, acha, let me try to access all the values. Let's suppose I have var username equals to, let's suppose, document dot get element by ID, and the ID is username. All right. We also have a password where password equals to document. No, I think it was a silly mistake. Let's just put it all over. Let's just put it all over again. I think it will be gone now. It will be password, right? I have the username, I have the ID, I have the password, and on adding a form, right? I want to attach an event listener. So form dot add event listener, and that event listener is submit, and on submit I want to render a function, and that is called fn, right? I'll quickly come here. I'll do function fn, right? It has got e, and I'll just do e dot prevent default, right? And after that I'll just try to get the value. Well, let's suppose var username name value equals to uh, username dot value. Okay. Now after that, let me just try to console.log username value. Similarly, I will have a password value as well. So where password value will be username. No, sorry, it will be password dot value, and just let me just console.log username value and password value. Right. With that being said, let's try it out. Let me just refresh it. Yeah. Let me just type in my name and any password. I think it's not okay. Let me just come here. Let me just remove the script tag from here, and let me just write it in the bottom part. It should not create an issue, but let's see. Index.js, and let me just alert something here as well. That is alert. Okay. Hi. And let me just come. No, not this part. Let me just come here. Let me just refresh it. See, that means our index, our JavaScript is not working properly because I've written alert here, but it's not working. So that's what I told, right? It should not be in case. No, uh, the the issue here is that my JavaScript file is not rendering into my HTML folder, right? Some issue, I don't know what's that. So let's suppose dot slash index.js, because you see I've even done alert high, right? Because then again it's not having alert. Let me just do one thing. Let me just close it. Let me just open it once again. Yeah, I'll just go live. What? Why is it acting so weird? Just change line 1661. Array, it will not make a difference here. The difference is that our alert is not working properly. Oh, is it now? Let me just try it out. Pratik Masan, and have a password. Let's suppose 12345. Cannot read the values of null. Yes, you were right. You were right. But let's see what's happening now. It's giving null. So I have username here, and I have password here. Right? Chalo. Now let's see. Let's have some value. Let's have some password. Again, it's saying cannot read properties of null, reading value. Uh, yes, you're absolutely right. Okay. So I'm not exactly sure what is the issue here. Do let me know if you find any issue. It says null now. Function username. Sir, try username dot value. Function should have arguments e, not comma. Uh, username not comma. Where is the comma? It's correct, right? A semicolon is not an issue here. Semicolon is fine. Hmm. अरे हो जाएगा सीरी हो जाएगा. Now, okay, I have it now. Okay, I have it now. I have it now. So I think the issue was I was trying to access both the values, but again, it was not intended to do that. Yep. So oh, see the password also the spelling is small here, and I have done capital there. Spelling mistakes. Okay. Chalo. Now we have it, right? So I have the password. Let's suppose I have the username as Ritik Masan, and I have the password as Ritik at the rate 123. And now if I click submit, uh, password. Okay, it is password, small p, right? Is username and password value. Yeah. Now I have, yes, it's in lowercase, right? Now I have it right here, and I have the password as Ritik at the rate 1, 2, and 3. And now if I click on enter, it gives undefined for some weird reason. I don't know why. Come on, man, what's happening today? Such a silly mistake. अभी भी silly mistake ही हो रही है. Because I have the username, right? I have the username, but password. Let me just see. Uh, Input type is password, and ID is also password, right? I cannot get element by ID. It's password, and it's password dot value. And if I try to print password value, yep, I'm having the password as well. So Okay, now it's working fine. And if I print username, it will also work now. And let me just remove the alert sign from here. Okay, so you have the ID, you have the password, and you have both the values right here. Okay, no, printing separately will not work. I think it was some silly mistake. I had some comma there, so that's why it was giving undefined. Okay, so now I have successfully validated my username and ID with lot of struggles and lot of silly mistakes. Now we have all the values right here. It's just the type. It's just that I need the validation here, right? So I'll just quickly validate. So let's suppose I want to give it a username. Let's suppose I want that my username value should be, let's suppose, Ritik, right? And let's suppose my password value should be, let's suppose, anything. Let's suppose 1 2 3 4, or what do you want? Let's suppose I have it as 1 1 2 and 3, right? Two values. And if both these values are correct, I'll just alert. I'll just say alert. Hey, it has been validated, right? Else, I'll just come to the else part. Else alert. I'll just say a wrong password. Yeah, I can understand. I can understand. Okay. Chalo. With that being said, let's try it out. Let me just type any wrong ID and wrong password, and let's just see. So it says wrong password, right? Now let me just type in the correct password. What's the password that I've set? I've set it to Rite. Sorry, the username is Rite, and the password here is what? It's 1 2 3, right? It's 1 2 3. Now if I do this, it says, hey, it has been validated successfully, right? uh it was very easy. Like it's just, these some lines of code, and you have the HTML part here as well. Old practice of programmers, yeah. I mean, so it happens, right? Programming is all about having just debugging your code and again. So it happens. It takes times to debug, and you surely get there as well. So you saw a very very genuine example right here of how debugging goes and what things can go wrong, right? Chalo. With that being said, we have successfully generated this form, right? I'll upload the code on GitHub. I'll just get the team aligned, and I'll just give it in the description box. But for now, just make sure that you are marking your attendance. And how do you mark your attendance? Just go into LetsUpgrade.in. Right? After that, you'll see this page, and this is how you will generate the certificate as well. So please look carefully. So just go on to my programs. Yeah, I'm telling the certificates only. Yeah. So just go on to my program. Just click on JavaScript. Mark today's attendance. How will mark today's attendance? You just do like this: full stack web development. Can anything be improved? Nothing. Just submit your attendance, and after that, just refresh this page, right? It got the percentage is now, it is 4.664 something around, right? After some time, not now, after some time, maybe within half an hour or 1 hour, you'll see an option here, right here. It will say generate certificate, right? After that, generate certificate, you can just download the certificate, and you can just showcase it on LinkedIn, and showcase it on any other platform that you would like to. And also, one thing more, this program that is there, right? You try to add CSS to it, because right now it is just consisting of the functionality part. Just try to add some cool CSS, just make it more colorful and more neat and more, I would say, legible, so that it is visible properly. And do not forget to tag us. So for those of you who want my LinkedIn ID, here is my LinkedIn ID to you, right? Please tag LetsUpgrade, please tag me, just showcase it on LinkedIn. This is a very good opportunity for you, right? So that you can get to showcase your skills, and also get in touch with the recruiters as well. So this is my LinkedIn ID, right? This is my LinkedIn ID. I'll just paste it here. If the team is there, they'll send it in the chat box here itself. But if not, just type in the right, just type in my name. My name is Ritik Masan, right? And just share it on LinkedIn. And with that, we'll be connected. I'll be more than happy to connect with you guys, to get in touch, to be in this journey ahead. There'd also be many boot camps. I think the React boot camp is starting from the 27th of it. So till then, that's all what we have. Please make sure to mark the attendance. Please make sure to go through the courses. We have 2 courses, the Java and the DSA part. Plus also go through the boot camp, the B.Tech part, right? We also, as I told you, right, yesterday as well, we have we have a B.Tech degree as well. So you can, if you want to, you can just explore the B.Tech part as well. And if you feel that someone or your cousin is there for you, you can also what do you say, just go ahead and refer them, and on referring you will even get rupees 80,000 or a MacBook Air 1, right? So please make sure to watch the recordings. If you have any doubts, the project that is there, I'll upload the source code. Do not worry about it. The link will be there in the description box in some time, right? With that being said, please also, again, what was that? Yeah, please showcase your skills, showcase the project, showcase your certificate on LinkedIn, tag LetsUpgrade, tag me, tag your friends, so that they can get to know. And with that, just market, you just sell yourself that, okay, you have done the certificate, and it's very great, right? Chalo. With that being said, will take your leave, right? We'll meet maybe on some other boot camps, and I hope you guys really enjoyed the session, right? Plus, that being said, let's wind up the session, and we'll meet maybe on some other boot camps, right? With that being said, I'll take your leave. Bye bye.
Hey, hi everyone. So my name is Sai Kiran and I'm the founder and CEO of LetsUpgrade, and I'm having some amazing news for every one of you. LetsUpgrade, in collaboration with ITM Skills University, is launching the first B.Tech CSE program that we love to share with you all guys. 6 features. Number 1, 100% job guarantee to all the students joining this particular program with minimum 8 LPA. Number 2, 1-year paid internship in product/MNC companies. Number 3, taught by real developers working in the industry in top companies. Number 4, amazing campus, a campus which is like we work in Mumbai that we are building for you all guys. Number 5, build lots of projects which are like real world applications, highly scalable applications from Hotstar to Zoom to your own Zomato. Number 6, you are gonna love the community collaborations that we guys have done. We are collaborating with 13 plus tech communities to give you the same environment what IITs and NITs have. Meet lots of industry people, participate in hackathons and meetups to understand what is running in the industry. These are the 6 features which we have. You can check out the program on our website, that is isu.ec.in. Check out B.Tech there, you will find it. That's it guys, bye bye.